Beautiful Rose watercolor painting tutorial. This time it is variegated red and pink rose. Let's paint! An outline drawing is done, which is available for download. Now we need to remove the excess amount of graphite off the paper. It is very important to remove the most amount of the graphite, so it is only visible by your eye. As you can see from the video, it is almost invisible. This rose is very light, the edges are very light, so we don't want any graphite marks to be visible in our final painting. Removing eraser dust with a bigger brush. And now to color mixing. First, I will mix watercolor mix for the shadow area of this rose using Manganese Violet and a little touch of Perylene Violet. We need to look now behind those beautiful spots that are visible on this rose. We need to paint a base color, and base color on the white, this is white rose, and it has violetish shadow area. That's why I'm using Manganese Violet with Perylene Violet. Now I'm mixing Permanent Rose with the Sennelier Red for those beautiful spots, adding a little bit of Perylene Violet for the darker areas of those spots, and a little touch of Red Violet. Third one is Perylene Violet. With Sennelier Red. And the fourth mix, Sap Green, little amount of lemon yellow and Perylene Violet. Now we can start color mixing. Be sure that your water is clean after mixing watercolors. I'm using 2 glasses. One is clean water for applying first watery layers, and the second one is for cleaning brush and mixing watercolors. Starting by applying water to one petal, and as I mentioned before, we are looking in the reference and we are looking beyond those beautiful spots. We need to see what is the base color for this rose, and this rose in the base is white, and we need to build white shadow for the white area, which is violet. I can see that this is violet shadow, and I'm applying very transparent amount of Manganese Violet with Perylene Violet color mix, and carefully, gradually pushing watercolors towards the lightest part. Painting one petal at a time, applying watercolors with round synthetic brush, very transparent amount. We can always go darker. It's important for the first layers. Apply tonal values and paint a little bit lighter than it is in a reference. So there is a room for improvement. There is a room to make it darker. It will be a problem to make it lighter, especially this flower is very light, and the base, it is almost white rose. Moving forward, technique is the same, applying water, transparent amount of Manganese Violet with Perylene Violet, very small amount. You can see I'm taking very transparent amount of watercolors and applying smoothly, slowly. We don't need to rush. We can always, even if the surface starts to dry and we haven't been able to cover all the area, again, wash the brush, apply minimum amount of water to your surface and continue. If you need, you can pause the video and work in your own pace. That's fine. I have my time limit to being able to show you as much as possible in a time limit that is enjoyable for watching. So maybe I'm painting a little bit faster, but that's okay. new modern technologies, you can pause and paint as you need in your own. I'm taking Permanent Rose with Sennelier Red mix and starting to apply to the upper petal. I am constantly looking at reference, comparing if I am doing everything correctly. My brush strokes are quite wide and starting from the shadow area and then gradually moving watercolors towards the lightest part. This exact petal has an interesting pattern. It's half pink and half is not pink. And we are following these interesting textures in the reference. This rose got my attention by its texture. But first we need to build the base. We did our shadow part. Now carefully with the more brighter pink. And as you will catch this technique, you will really be so enjoyable to paint it. It's so interesting to paint variegated subjects. You are not 100% copying the same exact place for the exact spot. You are just catching that technique method and you can really express yourself. Follow some guidances where maybe is the wider spot or smaller spot, but you just don't need to copy them exactly as they are in reference. Still, this is art, this is your painting. Just get the idea of this rose. It's very interesting and very enjoyable to paint these beautiful spots. Also try to notice that some pink area, for example in this petal that I'm painting, underneath that curved edge there is the shadow part, so the pink area there is a little bit darker and then it becomes lighter towards the middle part of the petal. We are also taking that into consideration, that even spots have shadow and some darker and lighter area because it is on a curved subject and the light is hitting differently even on the spots. Now I'm speeding up the tutorial. Full tutorial is on my Patreon and is 1 hour and 30 minutes long, from the very starting brush strokes till the finishing touches of this beautiful variegated rose painting. adding finishing touches to these leaves and to the stem. Some more contrast, but keeping the light and loose look of these leaves. Hope you really enjoyed this watercolor tutorial of variegated rose. I like the result very much and I enjoyed painting here with you. Hope you learned something new as usual, and thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate that. Thank you and see you in my next tutorials. Bye bye.